What is up? It's Jay from Antique Toys. I'd like to say thanks to Ed Sanford, of course, for allowing this video to happen. So, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, guys, I hate to disappoint you, but we're not going to talk about chickens, and we're not going to talk about eggs. But we are going to talk about Transformers and Gobots. Which one came first? So the Transformers and the Gobots actually both were aired in September of 1984. But the Gobots aired on September 8th and the Transformers on September 17th. So technically speaking, the Gobots in the US market were actually released first, only by a few days. So interesting fact is that the Gobot toy line was actually released in 1983, almost a year before the cartoon ever aired. And the toys really didn't do that well until the cartoon came out. And then Transformers came out and pretty much blew the Gobots right out of the water. We can be honest that the Gobots were cool, but the names were, I'm going to go ahead and say, pretty generic. I mean, there was what? Scooter, Crasher, Turbo. I mean, the names were pretty generic. The Transformers had some of the coolest names. I mean, Soundwave, Megatron, Starscream, Thundercracker. I mean, it doesn't get any cooler than that, especially back in the 80s, right? Also, let's talk about diecast. We all had that one friend back in the day, or even now, especially people you meet that aren't collectors or haven't really been around it, and you're like, and they see a Transformer, you talk about Transformers, and they're like, oh my God, they were just all die-cast, and actually, they probably weren't at all.
That Thunder Warp and that Soundatron, man, I tell you what, those things were like solid bricks of die-cast metal.
I don't think they had that much metal in them.
Oh, yes, they were.
Not even close.
Let me tell you something. Timmy threw one at me, almost hit me in the head. Oh. The wall instead put a hole in the drywall.
Well, of course it put a hole in the wall.
What?
You lived in a trailer.
Man, I don't have to put up with this.
I'd say if you had to put like a percentage on the diecast content, maybe 8%. And I was actually looking at the Gobots and the Transformers. And when you actually compare the diecast content, I think Gobots actually had more diecast per ounce than the Transformers did. But if you talk to a person who hasn't talked about it before or actually hasn't collected or held them in their hand, they're going to say, oh yeah, the Transformers were like solid bricks of diecast, dude. And they definitely were not. Okay, they were mostly plastic, which is fine. Because I guess it could be considered dangerous. Things were too heavy. I think that's why they got away from a lot of the cast iron toys back in the day, because they were, let's be honest, they were pretty dangerous. If little Jimmy hit Johnny over the head with a cast iron toy, it's ZZ time, bro. You know what? I think we should take a little closer look at some of these toys, a little more in depth. So here we have G1 Optimus Prime from the Hasbro Transformers line. Then we've got the pre-Transformer Takara Die Attacker. This is more like the Diaclone era. And then we have the Super Gobots Leader 1. Now, I would have showed you the little guy, the little Leader 1, but I didn't have one, so this is the best you're going to get. It's the Super Gobot line. And I think these came out in 1985 or 1986, and they're sort of like the DX versions. They're a little bit bigger. And then last but not least, we got Combat Buggy, and this is by the Bandai Popey Machine Robo series. Alright guys, so what do you think? Which one of the four did you like the best? I guess if I had a preference, I'd probably pick the G1 Transformer because I just think they were awesome. And some of the older ones were maybe a little bit before my time. Everyone used to always call the Gobots the poor man Transformer. I mean, that's what they called it when I was a kid because, I mean, let's face it, they were pretty cheap. I mean, they were like this tall, and they probably were like $2.97 a piece at like Zayre's or Service Merchandise, or of course Kmart, where you used to get your Velcroed strap shoes and all that fun stuff. I'm glad we've gotten away from that because those were the ugliest shoes I've ever seen. Okay guys, I want to say thanks for watching. Make sure you visit AntiqueToys.com, buy some toys, and please guys, visit the merch page and buy a shirt. They're like awesome. Buy some shirts. And if you have any questions or you have any collections that you might want to sell, make sure you call Ed or email him at toys@AntiqueToys.com. If you're interested in amazing World War II t-shirts, make sure you visit thepanzerblog.com. They will hook you up. Use code PANZER20OFF to get 20% off your order. Be sure to drop a comment down below, like, subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you again. Have a good one.